Plain and simple. If you aren't ready to be a parent, you aren't ready to be a mother or a father, then do not use the pull-out method. Hello and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Renisha, and you don't know it yet, but I am your favorite women's health provider. I want to kind of switch gears a little bit and talk about the natural ways of preventing pregnancy or just natural birth control methods. So first up in that series is the withdrawal method. What is the withdrawal method? What is pre-cum? Can you get pregnant from pre-cum? How safe or how risky is the withdrawal method? So by the end of this video, I want to help you decide if the withdrawal method is for you. How many times have you been intimate with a partner and you wondered, did he pull out in time? Can I be pregnant? You know, that 2-week dreaded waiting period, you know, the first day of your menstrual cycle, where it's best to take a pregnancy test, you know, where you pee on a stick or 20, and that's another video for another day. Okay, we've been there. We've been there with the pregnancy scares, wondering, could I have gotten pregnant from the pre-cum? Did he pull out in time? Moving on. Nearly 60% of women in their childbearing years, the ages between 15 and 44, have used the withdrawal method at some point in their life. The withdrawal method is pretty common. In fact, 60% of women in their childbearing years between the ages of 15 and 44 have used this method at some point in their life. There's a plethora of reasons as to why individuals choose the pull-out method. For the majority of partners, enjoyment is usually the main reason. Let's be real, we weren't created to be intimate with one another and to have sex using a barrier in between the two. And the all-natural, it just feels better. Okay, it feels amazing, but you get the point. Many women are sensitive to different barrier methods, especially the condoms, whether it's the spermicides and different chemicals used in the condoms. Maybe they have latex or rubber allergies. Many women experience different side effects, mostly from a result of an altered pH balance. Then there are some women who have side effects from the hormonal options, and they're not a good candidate for the IUDs or birth control pills. So it varies from person to person. As couples' relationships evolve and the trust is built, couples tend to use the withdrawal method based on trust and comfortability alone. Some partners feel that without barriers to sex, you're building a deeper physical or emotional, even spiritual connection with your partner. What I don't agree with is when an individual uses sex without a condom as a bargaining factor and encouraging that person to simply let all their guards down and place all of their trust within that individual. Let's dive into the topic of pre-cum. The actual medical term is pre-ejaculatory fluids. The reason you clicked on this video. So can you get pregnant from pre-cum? Yes and no. So there was a study done where men agreed to masturbate and have their fluids collected in a dish before and after ejaculation. What's interesting is that 41% of those men produce spermatozoa or sperm in their pre-cum. Now, as a practitioner, I didn't even know this information. When I had conversations with friends or previous exes, we were pretty much all under the impression that if a man cleared out his genital tract, meaning if he urinated before sex, that he was clearing out the sperm from his penis. Wrong. We were under the impression that because there's no sperm in a genital tract, there's no way you can get pregnant if you use the withdrawal method correctly. Meaning, if you pull out before ejaculation, you were in the clear. Wrong. Even Planned Parenthood in 2004 recommended withdrawing the penis before ejaculation was imminent, meaning they were behind the withdrawal method, and did not discuss getting pregnant from pre-cum. Turns out the withdrawal method is pretty risky. In fact, of those 41% of the men who had sperm in their pre-cum, 37% of those men actually produced motile or motile sperm, meaning they produced sperm that were able to travel up the vaginal tract and fertilize an egg. So that's a pretty large percentage of men that are able to produce motile sperm, sperm that's strong enough to travel up the vaginal tract and fertilize an egg. Now, 37%, it doesn't sound like a large number, but consider this. In that study, the researchers, they collected the samples from the guy before and after ejaculation, but they only collected one drop. And what they found is that in that one single drop on the petri dish, there were 23 million spermatozoas on that one sample. One drop, 23 million. How much sperm does it take to fertilize an egg? One. In most cases, there's only going to be one that fertilizes that egg. So 23 million, one out of 23 million, it's a high percentage, you know, when you think about it. So to each his own. Also, sperm can live in the woman or in the vaginal tract for up to 5 days. So you may have sex and you're thinking or tracking your menstrual cycle and you're like, well, I'm not ovulating, I'm not in my fertile days, we can have unprotected sex. But okay, like I said, the sperm may last up to 5 days. You may not be in that fertile period now, but what about 2 or 3 days later when you do ovulate and that sperm is just hanging around waiting for that egg to release and makes its way up to the egg and fertilizes? It's a risk. Learning that there is a possibility of sperm being in the pre-cum, you now have more of an awareness. You can make more of an informed decision on whether or not you want to use the pull-out method or not. Now, it was interesting that for the most part, the men who did not produce sperm in their pre-cum, after subsequent testing, after an additional test was done, it was pretty consistent. They did not produce sperm in their repeat tests. So what I interpreted from that was some men produce sperm in their pre-cum and some don't. How would you know if that man is fertile? I mean, you can't look at a guy and go, he looks fertile. He looks like he produces sperm in his pre-cum. We better wrap it up. You can't tell. So it's better to err on the side of caution. So I plan to make a video on tracking your fertile days, knowing when you're ovulating or not, to better help you with determining what days to use the withdrawal method and what days to use a condom. But for the sake of this video, I think it's just important to know that yes, it is possible to get pregnant off of pre-cum. You know better, you do better. Back to the original question, can you get pregnant from pre-cum? Absolutely. It's not a high chance. There's still a 4% chance of getting pregnant by using this method as compared to condoms, which is more of a 2 or 3% chance, but it's still a chance. Remember, it's one little sperm out of 23 million, and that's one drop. Now, the man releases pre-cum from the penis whenever he's aroused. So it doesn't take much. Simply being aroused produces pre-cum. So take it or leave it. Plain and simple. If you aren't ready to be a parent, you aren't ready to be a mother or father, then do not use the pull-out method. use protection. And speaking of protection, you're going to be having unprotected sex. At least know your status and your partner's status. Be sure to get tested for STDs, HIV, HSV, herpes simplex virus. Get a full STD panel, both you and your partner, so that you know your status. If you're going to use this method, at least do so safely. And lastly, I briefly talked about in the beginning of this video how some partners will use this method, the pull-out method, as a bargaining factor. Like, do you trust me? If you trust me, you know, we should do this. I think it's better for us to connect. Any type of coercion, or if someone's making you feel pressured into having unprotected sex with them and using trust as a basis for it, be careful with that. Hell, if you want, show them this video and tell them, no thank you. You definitely can get pregnant off of Pre-Cum, and I'm not ready to be a parent. I'm not taking birth control. I'm not on the pill. I think it's just best if we use a condom. Show them this video, and maybe they aren't aware that you can get pregnant from Pre-Cum. I didn't know it was that possible either. So yeah, don't feel pressured to have unprotected sex. It feels good, it feels amazing, sure, but are you ready for parenthood? Are you ready to produce a child and bring a child into this world? If not, wrap it up. Well guys, I hope you learned something from this video. If you learned something from this video, hit the like or thumbs up and subscribe if this is something you're interested in. You want to learn more about natural fertility or natural birth control methods. Like I said earlier, this is part 1 of a series. So go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.